Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Khan, d'avoir pris le temps de nous accorder de cet entretien. Pourriez-vous nous présenter brièvement votre personnalité et votre rôle au sein du gouvernement américain?
My name is Shahid Ahmed Khan. I have been associated with the Democratic Party for a long period of time, served in many positions within the party, including the national co-chair on John Kerry for President's Finance Committee, then with Hillary Clinton, surrogate speaker and DNC member. And I was appointed, fast forward, appointed by the President Biden about 2 years back as a member of President's Advisory Committee on the Arts. So we represent the Kennedy Center, which is the cultural center of the United States. I travel around the globe to do arts and culture diplomacy, mostly to the Middle Eastern countries and Southeast Asian countries.
Comment la position de l'administration Biden sur le conflit de Gaza a été influencé les sentiments des électeurs au sein de communautés arabes et musulmanes?
Yeah, it's just such an unfortunate situation which is happening in the Middle East. And like a world citizen, like a United States citizen, like a Muslim of Pakistani origin, I am very concerned about that. And certain policies from the present administration, we have a lot of we have concerns about that. But we also have concerns about the Republican Party's nominee's position on this. As you have heard, probably, if you haven't, then he has been saying that Netanyahu is doing a good job. He's also saying he will let him finish the work, and you can figure out what it means. So he's the one who actually moved the capital of Israel, helped moving Israeli capital to Jerusalem. So his position on the Muslims in general, and Muslims in Muslim countries in general, and Muslims in Middle East has been pretty, aggressive. I will, at least I will say that. He says that he's going to deport those Muslim who participated in the universities protesting against this war. And he said, I have, pictures of them, or we have pictures of them, so we will make sure they do that. So all this kind of stuff is unfortunate, but this is the reality. So Muslims have a much better chance to see Kamala in the White House instead of the other guy. So, President Biden has spoken with Netanyahu several dozen times now. Tony Blinken has taken multiple trips to the region. His position and the Democratic Party's position is to stop the war. They have been pushing Netanyahu to do it, and he is not agreeing to that. Sometimes he agrees, but they never implemented. So the Biden administration is extremely frustrated about it. And of course, there's a concern about the U.S. positions toward Israel, which is a concern, right? So it is there. But if you compare what to do next, right? Or do you want to have a seat on the table? You want to have your point of view heard, and you are for the peace process in the Middle East. You want a piece of land for Palestinians. So you believe in two-state theory. You're pushing it. So then you have a better chance with Kamala at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue rather than Mr. Donald Trump.
Alors qu'Israël a attendu sa guerre contre Gaza et Liban, pourquoi les États-Unis n'adoptent-ils pas une position plus fermée pour contrer les tactiques offensives d'Israël dans la région? Par exemple, en mettant en place un embargo sur les armes pour inciter à Israël à réduire son offensive contre les Palestiniens et les peuples libanais.
Well, this is a very complex situation, as you understand. Israel is in other country; it's not United States. The war is happening in that region, and there's a system over there. Netanyahu is the prime minister there, so buck stop at him. Of course, U.S. support is is there. Yes, U.S. support is there, and there are. It's a very unusual situation U.S. administration is in as well. It comes from the different sort of power brokers, different powerhouses who support the political system here, and that's the reason there are certain things that are being implemented. And if you are asking me why it is not happening, it's a question we all know the answer. It will happen when the people on the other side, people like you and me, and other Muslims and other people, other citizens who are concerned about the situation, they know how to play the game. They know how to get to the decision makers. They know how to show the power of their vote, their finances to support them. And they should understand how the US policy is made. Then, if we have a seat on the table, then you can make a difference. Otherwise, this is not going to keep going, will keep happening. At the same time, when we talk about the Muslims, so I do not want to compare, but you see the response from the Muslim community is. So from Muslim countries are. Yes, right? I mean, you see how the Muslim countries have behaved in that way. So I think the first question should be asked, if we are packaging like it's a Muslim issue, the first question has to be asked from OIC, Organization of Islamic Countries. First question has to be, second question has to be from the Middle Eastern countries who has the leadership role in the Muslim world. So I think it's a very complex situation, but unfortunately, every time things happen, wherever it is happening in Ukraine, it's happening in Russia, it's happening between India and Pakistan, it is happening in Middle East. US is supposed to be the answerable party, which sometimes it seems a little unfair.
Les deux candidats ont ouvertement exprimé leur soutien à l'autodéfense d'Israël. Mais qu'est-ce que c'est l'autodéfense d'Israël impliqué spécifiquement?
This question has to be asked from the people who understand. Israel is in Middle East, of course, and this is Israel's demand, what applies to them, right, for self-defense. It's a very loaded question, and whatever it is required, I mean, I'm sure they present it in a way, and there are forces here and in other countries as well support their point of view. So the only way to deal with this is that the other countries also figure out a way and present it to the United States. If the United States is the questionable country who is supporting Israel, the only if it's considered, then they have to figure out a way to present their point of view to the decision makers here, and they have to figure out the way how the political system works. There's no justification for it. I'm just saying that there's no justification what is happening in the Middle East. It's a human rights crisis. It's almost like considered genocide. So yeah, there's packaging. First of all, I have a problem with this package also. If we just talk about Muslims, I think it's more like it's a regional issue. It's a issue of the people who live there. If we package it in that way, then we will get out of this only Muslim thing. There's a dominant forces of Palestinian Christians who have been vocal and have been they have thought-provoking ideas, who has been the leaders in the Palestinian community. They are not Muslims. George Habash and many other professors, even Yasser Arafat's wife was the Christian. So when we package it as a Muslim, then we are limiting and putting other countries on defensive as well, because it's a better packaging of this issue is the human rights issue, is the human dignity issue, it's a civil liberties issue, so many other things which people have a better sense of understanding. That's my perspective. But whatever, if they are playing in someone else's court, people are packaging in that way, yeah, so be it. I mean, what can we do?
Aux États-Unis, les musulmans américains d'origine diverse ont ouvertement exprimé qu'ils abstenir des voteurs ont choisi de voter pour une troisième partie en raison de la position des États-Unis sur Israël et la Palestine. Quelles sont les implications pour les partis démocrates?
But it can, well, if the, let me go back a little data point here. So Hillary Clinton lost Michigan by only 14,000 votes, and he lost the election.
Yes.
So it's in most of the case times, it is said if you don't win Michigan and Pennsylvania, you do not get to the White House. You do not go to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. So that in that particular state where I'm heading to right now in a couple of hours is important. Muslims should understand that it is important, and the Muslim vote is important for them. But like I said before, you have asked me a loaded question, but the question is, we have only two choices. We have Mr. Donald Trump or the presidential nominee from the Democratic Party, Kamala Harris. So we will be much better off, having Kamala in the White House than Mr. Donald Trump. This is my argument at this point.
I hear you.
And of course, the war in Gaza has to be stopped. The first thing is this should have happened as of yesterday. It's not happening because this guy on the other side, the Prime Minister of Israel, is very aggressive. His political life is at stake. He won't listen to, Biden has multiple arguments with him. Tony Blinken and others, they have argument with him. Of course, they don't want war to continue. They don't want the loss of civilian lives over there. This is horrendous. This is like, by any standards, this should not have happened. And they have been pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. The guy on the other side he's born and raised, of course, in New York. So he's not listening. He's not listening. He keep going, and keep killing people. This is unfortunate, but it is happening. It's the reality.
Actuellement, les deux candidats sont à égalité dans le Michigan et tous deux tentent de séduire les électeurs musulmans et arabo-américains car c'est dans cette région que l'on trouvait le plus grand nombre d'électeurs arabo-américains. De nombreux arabo-américains ont eu l'impression que leur vote n'avait pas été sollicité et n'avait pas eu d'importance au cours de ce cycle électoral. Pourquoi les candidats ont-ils attendu à la dernière minute pour solliciter les électeurs arabes et musulmans?
Well, that is not true, though. The reason for that's not true, I'm not talking about the other candidate. We have a person who is a point person for the Muslims in the United States. The campaign, Kamala, you have to understand that we always had a point person for Muslim Americans in this in our party. We have at this time we have the most number of Muslims serving in the Biden administration ever. And we have a lot of Muslims in really key positions in the Biden government, right? The Biden administration. So it is not that they are not reaching out to. It is the reason which you are just saying, which is more this unfortunate situation in Gaza. This is what it is. So when Trump in the Trump White House, the first thing they did, not the first thing, one of many things they did, they canceled the Ramadan celebration, iftar celebrations, dinner, and Eid celebrations, right? But so in Democratic administration, it's always been there's an iftar dinner, there's Eid the dinner, that there's a recognition of Muslim leadership, the Muslim voters and supporters in this country. Always been the case in the Democratic administration, not in Republican administration. So yeah.
Yeah.
Why they are not? They have been reaching out. They have been reaching out to the Muslim constituencies. But this particular situation, which you are mentioning, it is because of that. It is more. They are not reaching out to them now. They have been reaching out to them forever. And there's a whole setup of Muslim. I'm going there. There's a whole set of people on ground from the Democratic Party. They are part of the Democratic Party. They are part of the administration. they have been hired, and not now. I mean, they have been forever. They're part of the campaign, and they are working on ground.
Historiquement et généralement, les musulmans américains ont été plus associés au Parti démocrate. Et nous avons vu ces dernières semaines que de nombreux de groupes de lobbies musulmans et arabes ont soutenu les candidats Trump. Comment pensez-vous que cela pourrait changer la façon dont musulmans voteront à l'avenir? Les partis démocrates s'inquiètent-ils de perdre le vote musulman et d'arabes américains?
We are concerned. Of course, we are concerned. We are concerned, and I still fail to understand why the leadership of certain group is endorsing a candidate. They should have abstained. I don't know. I mean, but I don't know what they are thinking. It's more like the thought process of individuals who are serving in those associations, not a, because I see people all the time. I see frustration of people for this administration, but I don't see that people endorsing a candidate who is openly anti-Muslim countries, who is against immigration, who's going to build the wall, who is going to stop Muslims to coming into this country. And this is not I'm making it up. He says that. He is so abrupt. Why do you have to endorse that? I mean, this is so unbelievable. Like you're carrying a gun in your hand, shooting in both of your feet. I mean, why do you want to do that? Just stay out of this conversation and don't say anything, because you look like you have a responsibility of the community for your sort of assumed role as a leadership role in the community. And this is what you are saying without looking at it. I mean, it's like a single track approach. You should not be doing that. This is my opinion. I will never do it. I will stay away if I have to stay away. I will present my point of view, not endorsing a candidate who has been openly against whatever we have, against our kids, basically. The kids who are born and raised here. We are not, I mean, we kind of the first generation, we are big, thick skin, but our kids are not. I mean, they don't want to be discriminated against when they are in academia or they are in workplace. If this guy comes in the White House, this will happen. This is going to be anybody's shot, right? So I mean, making these kind of endorsement always makes me little concerned of the intellectual ability of these people who are making these statements.
De nombreux Américains musulmans sont très frustrés par la façon dont l'administration Biden gérait la guerre de Gaza. Pensez-vous que le candidat Harris abordera la guerre au Moyen-Orient différemment du président Biden?
I personally feel she will work actively to stop the war first. And I personally believe that she will work on the two-state theory and have it try to have it implemented. Yeah, this is what I believe.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And
she is a very concerned citizen. You won't even believe how she is. There was a demonstration for Kashmiri people a long time ago when she was in the House. She was in the White House as vice president, and she showed up at that rally. And people say, oh, she is Indian. I mean, oh, come on, man. She is showing up at a rally which is concerning human rights, right? And this is happening in India, right?
Yeah.
People say certain things. What I'm just saying is this is what it is. She is a very responsible citizen. I definitely believe that. I think she will do the best she can. But there's a 435 members of the House, or maybe a little more. There are 100 senators. I mean, you have to understand how the system works, right? The legislative branch is always there. There's a Department of State, is Pentagon, and then the executive branch, right? So, how to convince those decision makers who are making laws, how to convince those individuals who are making law and signing off to supply certain stuff to a certain country. How do we reach out to the Foreign Relations Committee, to the Armed Service Committee, to the all these kind of people, all these kind of committees who help facilitate this process? Not just the White House. The law is the law of the United States. When you basically when you are helping a country or helping a region or providing assistance, it becomes a law first, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it is discussed in the Congress, right? So
Yeah.
there's not one person, there's not one individual who says, do it and it will happen. It's not a switch.
Merci encore, Monsieur Khan, pour faire l'interview avec nous. C'était trop gentil et on verra qu'est-ce qui va passer en mardi.